I think the most important factor to do business in India is to just make sure you know exactly how to play with the law. So I think it's important to understand the law. You know, a lot of people use consultants and they don't understand. They just start up a business without actually understanding the law.
You just heard Ketan Kadam of Marush emphasizing the importance of understanding the law of the country in which you are operating as well as the country in which you plan to operate. It would be such a disappointment if the good business idea, which has the support of your friends and family and in which you have invested capital, goes down the drain thanks to legal troubles.
There are multiple areas in which you can make significant mistakes as an entrepreneur. These mistakes can then hit back in the long term, so you should early on create a strong understanding around some critical issues. For example, we keep hearing news about companies having unclear terms between different stakeholders or shareholders within a company, which can lead to significant challenges, including going up to so far as co-founders leaving the company. This also happens when co-founders don't have a really watertight arrangement between them, which clearly sets forth their rights and obligations in the company, including who really controls the company and who calls the shots. So a founder's agreement, something as basic as laying out all these rights and obligations of the parties, is something that often gets missed. Secondly, there's also infringing of trademarks, which is another common area for issues in the startup ecosystem. These kind of trademark related cases can cause reputational damage to companies that lead to monetary penalties and distract key founders from daily operations significantly. So how do you really resolve that? That's by thinking of your brand name upfront and making sure that you have protections in place and making sure that your brand name does not violate third-party IPR. Continuing with the list of legal mistakes, another thing you should be careful about as a founder is the creation and maintenance of terms of use and privacy policy on your website. A term of use agreement is meant to set forth the terms and conditions for people visiting your website, and a privacy policy page specifies the way you use website data of the user. For example, many websites take important sensitive information of the person that visits their website, whether it's simple information like their name and age, including their address as well. There are laws in India which are very sensitive about privacy protection and data protection, where you are required to have a policy that sets forth how you really maintain this confidential and that you don't sell this sensitive information or your customer database to other companies, as all of these would lead to significant non-compliance issues. Another classical mistake in the early days is to opt for the inexperienced legal counsel within your startup. When you reach a certain scale and commercially you realize that the appointment of legal firms does no longer make sense, then it is recommendable to hire an individual that can help you out in multiple situations, someone with some level of experience to rely on. Finally, another common mistake which entrepreneurs make is by forming a wrong legal entity, which can ultimately lead to higher taxation and increased liability, wherein you, at the worst case, even be obliged to put your personal assets such as your house, car and various other assets at risk in the event of a dispute or lawsuit, or simply being unable to satisfy debts or liabilities of the entity through which you are conducting business.